Can you hear us? What's up, Gia? Welcome to Track Help. Hope you guys can hear us. If you got some mics, be sure to say hi. What's up, Gia? What's up, Theodore?
What's up?
What's up, Gia? Welcome to Track Help. First time you're joining?
Yep.
Awesome. Where are you joining us from?
Pardon?
Which country are you joining from?
Australian. So.
Australia. Also, what time is it there?
It's 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Excellent. I guess this time of Track Help is more suitable for your time zone, as opposed to tomorrow's session, which I think would overlap into the morning hours because we do it later. We have Theodore. Theodore, you there? Can you hear us? If you got a mic, be sure to put it on. Just let me know when you're ready to go. Not to worry. Today, I'm looking forward to the session. We've got a number of people on Instagram saying hi. What's up, Aiko? What's up, Swing? It's funny, on Instagram we got different usernames, so it's we get all sorts coming on. Guys, we got a lot of footage to go through today, which I'm looking forward to. Just to give you an overview, it's going to go in this order. We got Theodore, who's submitted some footage from Race Hall, I believe this is. We then had, is it Gia? Do I call you Gia or Jihi? Jiahi? Just correct me.
It doesn't really matter.
How do I pronounce your name?
It's pronounced Jiahe, but it is a Chinese name. But you don't have to pronounce correctly. It's
very nice.
All the Westerners didn't
Jaha. I hope that's a good effort. Jaha. So Jaha, you've submitted some footage of an indoor track, and I believe Theo, this is your footage, right, from outdoors?
Yeah. I joined in another account.
Perfect.
That's why the name is different.
No, perfect. What we're gonna do then is hopefully get started. Before we get onto some footage, I want to ask you guys, because you're all new to Track Help. Theo, how did you come across KTips?
I needed some tips on how to drive, basically. So I came across you on YouTube, saw one of your shorts about this KTips Academy, and thought, why not? I should join.
So you actually found a short which mentioned something about the KTips Academy.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And did you search for anything specific on YouTube that time? Maybe did you just search for like karting tips, or what was your?
I don't remember exactly. I think something about braking, or something about the kart moving up and down all the time. I had so many problems with that when I started karting, and I basically, because I couldn't find anything, searched everything I could think of, and also got into your YouTube channel, hoping I could find a video about that. Came across your short as I was searching, and found this academy.
Amazing. How was the sign-up process for the academy? Was it easy to enroll? Was it quite straightforward?
Really easy.
Okay, excellent.
I didn't have any problems.
Excellent. Great to hear. Welcome to the academy as well. Jauhi, how did you come across KTips?
Well, think spoke your YouTube channel for a while. I think.
Nice.
2 years ago at least.
Wow, you're an OG.
Nah, I wasn't. I forgot to subscribe and and
Okay.
not really didn't watch much of your videos, but well, so yeah.
Excellent. Were you searching for something particular, similar to Theo was looking for something like braking? Were you looking for general tips, or what were you searching for?
The thing I struggle the most is racing line.
Okay, yeah.
Like I am also like still don't quite get the concept of the slow in fast out. So like when I entering the corner, I rather enter way too fast and then causing the unstable of the kart, which hurt my exit speed, or I rather entering the corner too slow and then use the much of the
Gotcha. You're still working on the line and finding the limit of grip, I guess, as well in cornering. Nice. How was the sign up process to the academy? How did you come across the academy?
Not sure how to answer you.
Did you maybe follow a link in one of the descriptions, or did you just search for it, academy?
I just read about the ebook.
The ebook, yes, excellent. So you basically downloaded the ebook, and then you probably got a prompt saying we've also got the free academy, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Theo, did you download the ebook, or have you taken a read through the ebook?
Yes, I have downloaded it. I read it once, but
awesome.
It didn't help me much because it was already about stuff that I basically knew or have seen from your or other karting creators' channels.
Awesome. Reason I'm asking, guys, we got lots of different people joining from different avenues. So some people join the academy directly. Some people read the ebook, then they get a prompt. Some people get referred. Their friends tell them. And it's great to see the community building up nicely. It's a global community. We've got people from all over the world joining. And it's nice to now have a couple of different sessions. So the Saturday morning session, which we're doing now, is more catered for East Asia, you could say. And then tomorrow's session, which is later at night, is more catered for US and European time zone. Although if you're up early like Theo, no problem. You can join it early. Right.
Yeah. I had the football match in the Sunday.
Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like the evening, you're busy and things like that. Theodore, Theodore, we still can't hear you. If you can arrange your mic, then we'd love to go through your footage. Well, can
you hear me?
What's up, Theodore?
Hello.
Welcome to Track Help. I assume you're joining from Denmark. Is that correct?
Yes.
Amazing.
7 a.m. here.
It's your first time joining as well, right?
Yes.
Are you friends with Hassan or Noam? These are regular drivers.
No, I don't think so.
Just want to confirm, you got two bits of footage. There's one called Race Hall F1 Race, and then there's another one called, I think it's, they're both F1 race. There's one with a date, one without a date. Which one did you want to go over?
The one with the date, that was yesterday. I made some improvements that race, but my camera was pointing a lot down, so I don't know if we can review that race as well.
Is it this one we're watching or the other one?
Yes, it's this one.
Is this one? Amazing. Talk me through your experience so far at Race Hall. Have you been driving here regularly? How long have you been going?
I think I started karting like 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago.
Nice.
And today there was some Christmas arrangement. And there was 35 people. So
awesome. That's finished, or it's gonna happen later today? That event is later today, right?
It's through the entire race, so everyone in the Christmas arrangement is racing against me through the entire race.
Oh, you're talking about the one in the background over here?
Yes.
This footage. This is a Christmas race.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Is it just an open practice session or best lap time, best position? How does it work?
The first 10 minutes is qualifying, and then the next 20 is race. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. This footage is, I guess, from the race then?
Yes. No, the first bits is from the qualifying, I think.
Okay, and then it goes on to the race. That's
Yes.
good. How often are you going karting here now?
I'm going once a week, but last month I had to save up for the camera, so I had to skip 1 month. And
Nice,
this is
nice.
my second race this month, but I usually go once a week.
You got a very clear recording. Which camera is this?
It's a GoPro Hero 9, and
Nice,
then I
nice.
bought some mount from Amazon to put it on my helmet.
Yeah. That's really, really good. Honestly, 8, 9, and above, you can get the 4K recording, and there's decent stabilization as well. Really, with the newer models like the 12, which has come out, you might get slightly better quality and maybe a wider field of view. But as you can tell from this, it's very, very decent footage. It's good to hear though that you're getting started in karting. You're already setting a good schedule, so you're trying to go once a week. And when you go once a week, are these just practice sessions, or do you try and do a race every week, sort of like a league race or something like that?
I haven't seen anywhere I can do like races. But
Yeah.
when I turn 16, I'm old enough to start signing up to it as like a sport, and I think I might
Yeah.
be able to do some more serious races then.
Yeah, have a chat to the staff at this track, because there's 2 other regular drivers who are, you know what, they're probably about 14 or 15. They do something called the Race Academy. Have you heard of that at Race Hall?
No.
Yeah, have a chat with the staff. So this is for junior drivers, and it's like I'm pretty sure it's like a weekly training program they do, and then they have like a race as well every 2 weeks. There's prizes, and yeah, that's why I'm familiar with this track. And the boys Noam and Hassan, they've been coming on regularly past couple of months, just submitting their footage and talking about those academy races and all. So yeah, it's worth having a chat like that.
That sounds fun. I will remember that.
Definitely, I'll send some links as well to you on the chat, so you can review that after today's session. Just talking about the track in general, though. I mean, with Race Hall, it's a very unique track. One of the biggest indoor tracks you can say in Europe. It's a very challenging track as well. But once you get it right, it becomes very, very fun to drive. Specifically, what are you doing well? What do you think you're still trying to improve on?
The first couple of times I tried to do the slow and fast out, but these past 2 sessions I experimented more with neutral steer.
Yeah.
But I'm not using the brake pedal as much to get the rotation going. I'm more using the steering wheel to kind of snap the back end out. And that's pretty much most I'm focusing on this session.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
The qualifying session done.
That's quality done. Awesome. No, it's nice to observe your driving. I mean, in terms of the session itself, there was lots of traffic, lots of different abilities. That's what I noticed. What was your lap time after this session?
In qualifying, it was a 1 minute 21, and I think my best in the race was a 1 minute 19.4.
Awesome. So you basically improved in the race, and that's natural because a bit more grip will be laid out on the track, and yeah, you're also getting more confident. Which position were you on pole?
I qualified first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that's you look quickest in that session. If we just skip to the race start, is it just a rolling start? How did that work?
It's a grid start.
It's gonna be a grid start. Did
Yes.
you just where can I find the grid start?
It's a little earlier than what you're on now.
Awesome. Somewhere here, you'd say?
Maybe like 20 seconds after.
Let's just, there we go. We found it.
Yes.
So it's very, very quick turnaround. Yeah, that's awesome. You basically got the lights over here. As soon as it goes green, you're off.
I tried to go wide in the start because there's a left turn
Yep.
as the next, so I could have the inside line, but they were pretty far behind as soon as it began. So
Yeah,
I
and you
didn't
can see
really
how
need
many
to fly.
drivers. This is a stacked grid, you can say. Same layout though, right? That you did from quali and the race. They didn't
Yes.
change it. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So a couple of things to know. If in this session you're focusing on neutral steer and trying to induce rotation with the car, a couple of basics to note with neutral steer itself is our hand position on the steering wheel. What we want to try to do is have a fixed position, whether it's in the middle of the steering wheel or maybe slightly higher. And what we don't want to do is move our hands up and down on the steering wheel. Imagine your hands are glued to the wheel. You cannot remove them. What this will force you to do is have a upright posture. If you just imagine yourself now, you put your hands in front of you, fixed position. Now what you want to do, all of the pressure and the force will come from your shoulders. And as we said, we're trying to apply what we call the push-pull technique. I emphasize the push more than the pull because the pull is actually something you can do subconsciously. You don't really want to focus on that too much. It's the push you really want to be clear on. So for example, if we have a right-hand corner similar to what we're taking over here, let's slow it down. Put it at 0.5. Hands should be in a fixed position, number one. And the first bit of pressure should come from the outside hand. In this case, it's going to be our left hand. What we want to do is actually push firmly against the wheel. And this arm actually will do all of the rotation for us, all of the turning. It's not going to be that much steering angle that you have to put in as long as you're pushing hard enough. Harder you push, the more the cart will rotate. The right hand in this case is going to naturally follow through, and it may pull ever so slightly on the wheel. So what you really want to do is you approach a corner, aggressive push against steering wheel with the outside hand, and then maybe with the inside hand just try to aid it. Coming on to, for example, we have a left-hand corner. Let's just try and find, I believe, over here. This is a good example. So what we do over here, again, this is a nice example in terms of having your hands in a fixed position. Always remember, don't remove your hands from the steering wheel. What's happening here is you're adjusting it mid-corner, and then you're initiating the turn-in with a pull, you notice, yeah? So we want the opposite, the outside hand, so the right hand, which is cut off in this case, start pushing with that straight away. And this inside hand, that will naturally follow through. What that will do, number one, is it'll feel a bit weird, really, because there'll be lots of strain on your shoulders. You'll be like, this is a bit awkward, but this will allow you to rotate the cart and also achieve neutral steer because you're getting rotation quickly in the corner and you're not having to turn the steering wheel as much. This is another example of just be mindful. For example, if you notice your hand position over here as we prepare for the next corner, your right hand, you're moving it up, the left hand, you're moving it down. And when you initiate the turn in here, you're pulling with the right hand. So just do the opposite. Firstly, keep your hands in a fixed position. Really, a good way to start is from 9-3, so dead in the middle. You see where my two circles are? Keep your hand over here, keep your hand over here. Now, this hand on the left, for example, is where we should be pushing. Push firmly against the wheel. And this hand over here will naturally follow through. Don't focus too much on the pulling. As long as you're pushing hard enough, that will allow you to turn smoothly as well. So what will happen mid-corner, we get rid of any corrections. And we can also control the oversteer and movement of the car efficiently. So that's something which is going to take lots of repetitions, lots of practice. But if you can keep that in your mind every time you practice, you're going weekly, it's going to be easy and easy to master it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I started doing it because I saw one of the best people on the track doing it. I think he has the third fastest time here, and I saw
Yeah.
he did this with his hands, so I just started doing it. But it's only been the past two, no, actually only this one session as I did it.
You're talking about the push-pull technique? Or the technique
No,
you're doing on track right now?
The technique I'm doing on track right now.
Honestly, it's all about personal preference and style. Experiment, what works best with you, what you're more comfortable with.
Mm.
There's no right or wrong way of doing things. As you mentioned, the driver who's doing a similar technique to you now is third fastest lap time. What we found is, if you experiment between the two, you see what works best. Push pull, the way I was explaining it to you in terms of pushing against the wheel, some drivers find that more comfortable. That's personally what I like to use. And you play around with it. You're doing plenty of laps, so you definitely have the chance to go for that.
Yeah.
Let's just go over some specifics in terms of the line, the braking. How's that working for you so far?
As soon as I started getting more rotation through the corners, I also braked less. And most of the corners I only lifted the throttle. It was only through turn 1 I really braked, and the second last turn, I think it's number 13. That's the only time I really braked. And the lines, I tried to get wide and hit the apexes, but I was mostly just focusing on rotating the kart and trying to get neutral steer.
Perfect. No, it's a very, very good effort that I could see from your footage over here so far. I think if you're looking to go on to specifics, it's just simply about finding the balance of drifting and being smooth. What we do when we use less brakes or no brakes, there's a risk that sometimes we're going to carry too much speed mid-corner. Sometimes we lose the engine revs as well on the exit of the corner, so you've got to be mindful of those things. Best way to mitigate that is just sometimes on corner entry, we just sacrifice a bit of time. Best way to do that is either get your lifting or your braking done nice and early. And I just want to go to a clean lap, for example, just over here, for example. Let's bring it back a moment. So this track is a combination of hairpin turns, and in terms of the actual apex points, they're clearly marked by these black barriers. In terms of the line, I think you're doing a good effort. All we want to try to focus on now, which could potentially get you faster, is how smooth we can go through some of these corners in terms of steering inputs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Best way to go for this, before the corner, either lift or brake. The earlier you can do this, the easier it is to slow the kart down, number one. Go for one fixed amount of steering input whilst looking ahead to your apex point, you said is the inside, and try and hold that steering angle, get close to the apex, and the acceleration, more crucially, is what we're trying to achieve quickly. For example, we've got the middle sector coming up over here now. This is a good combination, double hairpin sequence. So we've got one hairpin, now we've got the left into the right, and really about these couple of corners, it's all about listening to your engine revs. Am I keeping my revs high? Where is the limit of braking? So what you want to try to do is, the not be too cautious. Of course, I like how you're taking risk. For example, this is a good example. Turn one over here, you're trying to carry as much speed as possible. Perhaps on this occasion, you're braking just a bit too late, right?
Yeah.
All you got to do, bring the braking back slightly earlier. But now you know the limit. So don't be afraid to push like this. Moment you find the limit, you know, okay, that's the maximum I can go. Just bring it back slightly earlier. But really, in these karts, the key would be the easiest way to gain the lap time. Slow it down on the corner entry. Make sure you're accelerating out of the corners. There's quite few corners where you want to enter it very, very fast and then lose that time on corner exit in return. Any other specifics that you wanted to cover?
No, not really. I think that was all.
I think you're doing a really, really good job. The main thing for you now is to keep up that practice, which you're obviously doing regularly, and keep on focusing on those inputs. Number one, your steering inputs. Find a style that works for you. And then in terms of your line, really, really good foundation there. All you got to do now is how can I smoothen it out, number one, and find the limit of not overdriving, but then not being too cautious as well. If you can add that now with some race academy practice, which definitely recommend you to look into, you'll naturally improve your level faster, because there's going to be drivers of similar ability, faster drivers over there who are racing regularly, and then you'll just learn different tips from each other like that. When are you going to the track next?
Probably next weekend. I went yesterday, so I can't really go this weekend.
Amazing.
But yeah, probably next weekend.
Have a chat with the staff about the race academy. Find out more details. I'll try and send you over some kind of link as well, if there is.
Yep.
And before we round off, since it's your first time on track, it's your first time, right? You joined today.
Yes.
How did you come across KTips and the academy?
I think as right in the beginning of starting to race, I researched some of the basics like braking and overtaking, and your videos came up a lot, and I just started watching a lot of your videos, and then saw in the description of one of your videos the KTips Academy, and then I
Amazing.
joined.
How was the sign up process? Straightforward? Was it easy?
It was pretty easy.
Awesome.
I can only remember like putting in my email and name and stuff like that.
Perfect. So did you join from a mobile phone or laptop on the academy?
I think it was from my phone.
Okay, cool. So this is for not only you, but everyone else in the call over here. The academy is hosted on a platform called School. So there's also a mobile app, the Play Store or App Store, and there's obviously the desktop version. So if you're on the mobile, just be sure your notifications are on, so you're not missing any posts, and also you're notified if there's any sessions coming up, that you can join in the future.
Yep.
It's great to have you join, Theodore. You can stay on the live meet over here or follow from the live stream. We're going to move on to the next driver. Before we do that, though, just take a couple of comments from the live. We had a couple of people on Instagram saying hi. We got Fire Dragon on YouTube. He's saying, I'm wanting to do karting, but I have to bring my own kart. Do you have any recommendations? Okay. I think we need a bit of context for that. Is it a kart club that you might be trying to join? Because normally at kart clubs where it's owner karts, you're required to have your own kart, and you come there, you race it on the race dates. However, if you're close to a rental kart track, that's the best option, because everything's provided for you, from the karts to the helmets to even things like suit, gloves. That's the easiest way to get into karting. But if you're talking about I have to bring my own car, do you have any recommendations? Firstly, the engine. Check out what engine they're running at that kart club. Is it 4-stroke engine or 2-stroke engine? Based on that, you then have to get a chassis. So the chassis can vary. You got top teams, for example, OTK, which is Tony Kart. You can maybe go for Biralat. You can maybe go for CRG. These are all different chassis manufacturers. Really, there's not that much difference across chassis. Of course, price will vary. You can get really good deals for older chassis, and the latest ones will obviously be at the most expensive price. Now, whenever you're buying a chassis, just make sure you view it in person. Make sure the chassis is not bent, because especially if you're buying a used chassis, that's the risk that the previous owner, did many rounds in it, and there's potential bends within, and that will be detrimental in the long term for you, because you might have to end up writing the whole thing off and buying a new chassis if anything breaks. Yeah, we're gonna go on to, let's just bring on the next bit of footage. Xiaohe, you still there?
Yep.
Amazing. I'm just bringing up your footage over here, and if you just talk me through Karting Madness, then it looks like an amazing track. This is your local track, I assume?
Yeah, it's a difficult track. I'm sorry about the footage. Like, I haven't adjusted the camera into the correct angle.
No problem.
Steering and the throttle.
Yeah, no problem. Honestly, it's good enough. Sometimes it's better to have it higher than lower, because sometimes what I do, I put it too low and then you can't see anything. At least here we can see the track layout. Maybe the steering inputs and all we can save for next time. It's a empty track you got. Was this recent?
Yeah, and then I am alone in the track.
Nice. So that's one of the best sessions you can do, because you can hopefully just focus on your own performance and your own timings. I see you got a 48.1. Is that one of your fastest lap times?
Yeah, but like some people can do up to 40 here. And then this is a single session, so it's from the cold engines, cold tires, and
true.
Yeah, in the single session it's 12 minutes, and I can never do under 48 seconds. But
Okay.
I can do under 48 at least, not in this.
Yeah, and you're saying the track, the fastest time here was 40 seconds?
No, 44.
44. Okay. Yeah. With indoor tracks, as you mentioned, it's specific to the conditions. So normally those times are set when, number one, it's a good kart. That's the key. But also then time of day, especially if you come maybe during a busy time where there's lots of karts out on track and then lots of rubber on, which has been laid down, there's more grip. And the track evolution is crazy like that, because the amount of grip that's on track will then allow you to go 1, 2, 3 seconds faster. That's what I've experienced at different tracks that I've been to. It's great though that you've got Sodi karts. It's the gas karts, right? From the sound of this. Amazing. How regularly do you go to this track?
2 weeks, 2 times at weeks. One is one I go there for a single session, which is this one, and then another one will be a league race.
Amazing, a league race as well. How's the league racing going? Is it very competitive?
Most of the competitive are very experienced drivers, so I was expect to go last every race. Sometimes second last, but yeah.
Every race is an experience and it's a chance to learn from. And everybody has to start somewhere. So the positive thing for you, it's now you can only improve, right? And I wouldn't get disheartened. I would keep on attending. And hopefully we're going to go over a couple of things in terms of your driving here, which you can try to implement on that practice session, and then take over into your next league race. Just looking at the overall track layout as well, it looks like one of those tricky tracks. A couple of things to note whenever we're dealing with a track like this is, where are the track limits and how are they defined? So, for example, over here, we got a combination of solid barriers and then also simply tires. So there's no clear curbs which represent apexes. So you've got to be mindful of that. Now, as we mentioned, in terms of basics, we want to try and use majority full width of the track on corner entries. When we have the corner apexes, for example, like this, again, it's defined by tires, or that's what's coming up on the left-hand side over here, an actual solid barrier marking. What you want to try to do is find the limit. How close can I get to these inside tire barriers, or as we mentioned in this case, simply the tires are on track. It's a good reference on how much of the overall track that you're using. And then it's also about the track width. Some corners, you might have to use all of the track. Other corners, we can take at a slightly tight angle. That's really down for you to experiment. Which lap was the fastest lap on over here? The 48.9.
I think it is lap 13.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd say it's about approximately which timestamp you think it'll be? Maybe about 7 minutes.
Let me see.
I reckon it's going to be at about 8. One of these latter laps.
Yeah, it's the second last lap.
We got the in lap over here.
No, that's the in lap, and
yeah, that's the in lap, and you just finished the last lap now. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So it's gonna be. Is it this lap? I think it's gonna be over here.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's going to be the start of this lap. So this track, whenever we're analyzing a lap, always try and split it down into different corners, different sectors. Just go through this with me. So we got turn 1, which is a left-hander, into almost a right-left sequence, a turn 2 and turn 3. You can see how the speed gets lower and lower through these corners, and it becomes tighter and tighter, right? We then proceed on to the left-right sequence, which comes into a tight hairpin, you can say, of some sort. It's a long hairpin turn, and you're basically in the middle part of the track now. Would you say this is a good overtaking opportunity in the league races? People?
No, this track is pretty much impossible to overtake.
Wow, it's too tight, you think?
Yeah, I was doing the league racing like this week, and then I tried to. The only opportunity I have is try to dive bomb someone into this corner.
Okay, the hairpin over here.
I fuck up big time. Ending up knocking my wheels and spin in the middle of the apex.
Gotcha. Last sector over here now. It's a combination of hairpin turns once again, and really unique corners. This is almost a double right into a left, and then we're across the line for 48.1 seconds. Good lap from what I can dissect. I think with yourself, you got a really good style of driving where you're not afraid to push. Like on this lap, you're pushing the limits, sometimes pushing a bit too much. That's where we need to find the balance. Just to break the lap down now, turn 1, 2, 3. This is a sequence which, yeah, is quite tricky. Whenever we take a sequence like this, I would try to prioritize how fast can I be on the exit of the left-hand turn over here. So your aim should be this, coming through this left-hand turn, how can I get the best possible acceleration? A couple of reasons why it's difficult is, number one, the angle of the corner, it's very, very tight. But number two, there's not much runoff over here, right? The tires come at you straight away. What you can try to help get a better exit, try and make your entry for this left hand, hug the left slightly more. And what we want to try to do is from the outside, from the left, now we cut to the right. The idea is we go from the outside and cut back to the right, is then we're just opening up this corner and using a bit more of the track on the right side briefly. In terms of your braking and all, that's the key part over here, more than even your line, because you got to understand how much speed that you're going to be carrying. So if we slow it down, currently, where are you braking? Is it on feeling? Is there a specific point for braking? Where's your current braking point?
Just go through this tire wall,
Mm-hmm.
like the tire. So,
Yep, on that
and
right
then-
side.
Yeah, on the right side.
And then you're just braking about here.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's a good reference for braking because it's consistent. You know, that's not going to shift each time. I would say you're pretty much on par. It's a good point to start slowing it down. Widen up the corner slightly more. Yep, use a bit more of the entry over here. And then what you can also start doing is just doing slightly earlier brake. I like how they got a sign over here saying use brakes. Does anyone actually pay attention to that?
Nah. Probably those very casual customer will pay attention, but
No, it's whenever they have signs like that, it is necessary to use brakes. If you could brake slightly earlier, have a bit more time and control, use a bit more of the track to the right. What you're trying to then do is get onto the accelerator quickly and almost take a mid, if not late apex over here. It's difficult to tell by this corner because it's simply a tire, but think about in 3 stages. The early part can simply be on this side of the tire. The middle part will just be over here. The latter part then, as we progress, is just towards this black strip and towards the outside. So that's the idea. Early on the brakes. So attack this corner at full speed. Stay slightly to the left. As you flick the kart back to the right now, early brake. Time and control. Use a bit more of the track on the right. Get off the brakes. Sharp turn in. Late apex over here. All the meanwhile, slowly feeding the accelerator once again. What that will enable you to do is from, if I just put it back 1 frame, by taking a later apex, you want to reduce the meters to the exit. So as opposed to doing something like this, where we end up to the right-hand side, we want to try to maybe aim towards the solid barrier, not the tire barrier on this side. What happens over here, you can't tell clearly because the camera angle is quite high, but if you notice the lower part of your screen, you're getting a big step of oversteer, which means you're carrying a bit too much entry speed. As you try to control that oversteer on exit, then we're nearly hitting the outside tires. So we're just carrying a bit too much speed into the corner. Simple fix, slow it down earlier, get on the gas earlier. Very, very, very simple like that. Next session coming up. This is the more tricky part now. again, it's all medium speed corners, and I like your approach through the right and left. You can say this is almost a double hairpin of some sorts. It's it's a wider first hairpin where you've got almost two apexes. If we notice over here, you've got one apex at the inside there, you got another apex over here, and then you got the left, which comes immediately. Just talk me through your current line now on entry of this corner. Is there a break, I assume? Or
yeah, that there will need to apply the brake, and I heard some people will like try to threshold braking, or even like make the wheels lock up a little bit and and allow the rear to rotate into this corner. But I don't.
What I like,
I don't know how to do that.
It's all about practice. I wouldn't worry too much because you're doing a good effort over here. What I notice, I can see your foot position here. You're going for a sharp turn in number one. You're going for a hard brake, and then if you look at your foot, your right foot, the gas pedal, boom, you're applying gas before the apex. Now, what we got to be mindful of is how much gas we're putting. Once we start counter steering, like you're doing over here, excessively, that means we're just drifting a bit too much. So all you got to do is modulate the accelerator, modulate the throttle slightly better, as opposed to going to 100% very, very quickly. What's happening over here? Maybe just give it 75% of gas. Maybe give it 50% and make sure that the kart grips, and then ramp up to 100. So you can simply ramp up, hold it there, ramp up, and then you're back at 100, similar like this. Line looks good because what you're doing over here is prioritizing a late apex. So you can afford to go slightly deep into this corner, sharp turning, as you said, hard brakes, try and lock the rear tires, get on the gas soon, which is what you're doing already. Just be careful with that throttle application. Try to get close to the inside tire over here. Yeah, I mean, there's at this track, that's the real reference. Almost got to be touching it. That'll make it easier for you. Second part of the corner on the left, I assume this is flat out, right?
Yep.
Whenever you have a flat out corner like this, because you've just completed braking, you're already at low speed. To help with grip, to help with rotation, what I would advise here, relatively sharp turning like you're doing. Are you using your body weight? Are you leaning at all in any of the corners?
No, because the seat belt is very tight.
You got seat belts on these karts. Yeah, that does make it uncomfortable. However, an easy way to then attempt to lean is just shift your body into the corner of the kart seat. There will be some play there. There should be some room. All you want to try to do is mimic the movement of shifting your weight to the opposite side, the right. So as you turn to the left, let's shift our body weight to the right, keep our foot pinned to the gas pedal. We've now got the brief straight. At least you can catch a breath, you can catch a breather. I like what you're doing over here. You're opening up the track, you're heading back to the right-hand side, trying to build up that speed, which is good. Then you're cutting back to the left-hand side over here. We're taking an apex where the tire barriers are, which is not bad. And then back again wide to open up for this hairpin. Talk me through the braking for this corner. I assume you're using the brakes?
Yep. I just brake walk, give it a heavy brake when while entering the corner, and then leave immediately, and then and then start accelerate it in the middle of the apex.
Gotcha. See, this is a good example of where you're just carrying a bit too much entry speed again. So what's happening? You're coming in the corner hot. Watch your steering wheel at the bottom of the screen as you press the brakes hard now. Again, we get a big snap of oversteer. And what's happening is that oversteer then causes you to go away from the apex. So as opposed to trying closing the gap here, now we're moving away from the apex. That's just simply because there's a bit too much entry speed that you carried. So all you got to think about for this corner, it's okay just to brake earlier and get the kart rotation done soon in the corner. I'd use these signs as a reference. As soon as you approach the first sign, that's a signal I've got to start braking soon. And as we get probably past the first, maybe the second sign, I'd be on the brakes. Also, entry. Wider you can make the entry, easier it'll be then to rotate and hit the apex. So just make sure for a corner like this, where you're approaching at high speed, go for an earlier brake, maybe even a wider entry, and make sure the rotation is done all here, which is before the corner. As you mentioned, then you want to try and get back onto the accelerator. And additionally, that will allow you to hopefully get closer to this barrier. That's the apex, and that's your target. What you want to avoid is leaving too much of a distance like this, and yeah, not hitting the apex. Have you tried an earlier brake there before? Have you attempted early braking at this corner?
Probably few years when I start, probably when I was a newbie. I would tend to brake early, very early, but not now.
You see, the key is not to overdrive. I know you want to gain time. It's easier to gain time, especially in these karts and this track layout, simply by slowing it down quickly and accelerating and getting better acceleration. What's happened over here, gone a bit too hot on entry. We're missing the apex. And then now on the exit of the corner, this is where you're going to be bogging down, and then you have to build up that speed. So just do the opposite. Slow it down on entry, get the rotation done quickly, get onto the accelerator quickly, hit your apex points. What you can try and target over here is a mid to late apex. It's a typical hairpin turn. Typical hairpin turn requires you to skip this early part of the corner. So don't try and go early in the turn. Try to go mid to late. So mid to late is somewhere here or over here at the latter part where the green light is. Well, that will allow you to have the best possible acceleration onto final part of the track. The final part of the track is, again, combination of hairpin turns. You mentioned this corner is potential overtaking spot. It's a hairpin again. What I can see from the entry, it's a good entry. Where's your braking for this corner? Any clear reference?
Slightly earlier is just for this corner I'm just brake and then turning. I mean braking first and then leave the brake and then turn. The braking point I think is
There's maybe a surface change, like this line on the track.
Approaching this television.
Nice, yeah, that's a solid reference as well. Trying to brake and turn as well over there. You see, the entry is good. I would again encourage either a sharper brakes, hard on the brakes, or slowing it down slightly earlier so we can again hit the apex. What's happened over here? We're leaving too much of a gap to the inside. And what that means, we're just going a bit too quick on corner entry. So the exit is going to be compromised somewhat. Always try to reduce the meters. Slow it down earlier, maybe. Brake sharper. And you should really target to get as close to the inside tires as possible. Yeah, that's the key. Moment you leave a gap, you know you've gone maybe a bit too fast. So slow it down on the next lap. Simple as that. Keep it tight and exit the track over there in the middle. That'll do. As we prepare now for the final couple of corners. So we got the left fast left, into the right, and then you've got this really tight hairpin, which then leads us onto, well, not the main straight yet. Talk to me about this corner, because it's an S. It's a left, right, into a left again.
Yeah, the disgusting about this corner is that you see the tire barrier is like it's being moved like
This one?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
The entry is very tight, like and then so I couldn't use much room, like
It's
on the
difficult.
right, and then
Agreed.
so I'm just brake nearly when approaching the apex, and then just turn.
I agree.
Turn it.
When the tires come out like this, it makes your entry for this corner a lot tighter. If you notice, you're forced to enter it almost from the middle, and now, yeah, look, there's not much room for the tight left-hander. A couple of things to do in this case. Number one, we need to brake early. It's a tight corner, and what we also got to do is try to, when we can, widen up the corner entry as much as possible. So early brake, slightly wider entry, will then hopefully allow you to cut back to the right and prioritize better acceleration. Additionally, this is a small thing that you can note. If you've got a situation like this where the tires have moved, you can take a wide line like this, almost focus on the outside barriers. So you're skipping the inside part. You're trying to have your kart wide over here. And then from the outside, from my left-hand side, then you cut back to the right. And then you'll have, return, a much wider entry over here. That's something you could try. But it's an indoor track. You know, we want to figure out if it's worth the meters or not. So we'll see. All I'd encourage for this type of turn, though, it is important. Early brake, get onto the accelerator after that. Avoid braking too deep, and then at the apex of the turn, now we come to a stop, and then we get back onto the accelerator now, and then we have to build up our speed. It takes too long in these karts, yeah? Low horsepower karts. Final couple of corners. What we've got coming up over here is triple apex of some sort. So you've got first apex here, second apex you can say over here, third apex you can say is the latter part, and then it's into a left. This looks very, very awkward. Talk me through this corner.
Yeah, so just try to brake in when approaching the first tire, and then just keep the line very wide. Very tight, so I can the key for this corner is all for the last corner before the straight, because if I'm running too deep, the line is gonna be very tight for the final corner, and then so it's hurting the straight line speed. So honestly, everything about this corner is about to open the gap. Open the room
for the last corner.
Yeah, for the last corner.
Yeah, really, really good understanding there. That's exactly how I'd approach it. So we're actually driving this corner, hopefully targeting a late apex, so we can end up on the right-hand side of the track. When we end up on the right-hand side of the track, now the entry for the final corner is easier. And I assume it's flat for this left-hand corner, right?
Yeah.
Is it just about flat out as you turn left?
Yeah, but if the room is not wide enough, it's gonna be a lift, or
you're gonna have to end up lifting. Yeah. That's why it's so important we set up this first part to prioritize the second. Now, what you're doing over here is great. I would encourage you attack this corner as much as possible. Ignore this first apex. That's not relevant for us, right? There's no need to, go for excessive sharp turn-ins to try and meet this. Rather, straighten up the wheel, look to the outside barrier, and think, how much speed can I attack this corner and entry? Now, reason we're doing that, and a good way to help you, is you just simply look to the outside barrier over here, or the outside tires. If you look ahead to those tires as if I'm going to crash into it, I'm going straight full speed, I'm almost going to crash into it, then you'll notice there's actually a nice reference for braking. So let me just pause it at the right moment. There's a surface change, and you can probably tell, I don't know if you can remember in real life, but you could probably see this shiny line over here. Do you notice this at this corner when you drive there in real life?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's a good visual reference to note next time you go. So take a couple of slow laps next time and actually look for this change. If you can use this as a reference for entry, I need at least my outside left tire to go over this line. As you approach it wider, number one, you're coming at full speed, so you're entering it faster, which means you need a wide entry. That's a good time to start braking. As you can start braking wide, we then want to go for a sharp late turn-in. Miss this early apex for this corner, but really try to hit the late apex. The second, or we can say third tire on the right side. Make sure you end up on this right-hand side, almost hugging this outside barrier. And then the most important part, which is coming up. Remember, you've completed braking over here. So you've already slowed the kart down here. As you build up your speed, realistically, how much speed are you going to build up in these next 5 or 6 meters? Not that much. So we want to aim to take this last corner flat out. 2 things to help us. Take it flat out. Number one, similar to what you're doing, sharp turning. Combine that with leaning your body weight to the outside. So almost mimic this as you do a sharp turn to the left. I'm leaning my weight into the corner of the kart seat to the right. Sharp turn into the right, lean out. Sharp turn into the left, lean out to the right. Load the outside tires with grip. Keep your foot pinned to the floor. Again, make sure we're coming absolutely as close as possible to these inside tire barriers. And then use the track on exit, similar to what you're doing over here, to hopefully complete a 47 or 46. I reckon you can hit next time you go. It's definitely possible.
Right.
Just a couple of things before we recap, before we move on. Overall, you got a very good understanding of the line. Now it's about making sure you're not overdriving. So as I said, there's a couple of corners where you're going in a bit too hot and you're missing the apex, right? So for example, we got this hairpin over here. Make sure you're just braking a bit earlier, prioritizing getting close to the apex. The next hairpin, for example, the line is really good. I'd say bring the braking slightly earlier. Make sure you're not missing the apex. The apex is crucial. Finally, there's easy time that you can gain in this last sequence, the right left, by simply attacking this final corner, looking to the outside barriers, using this outside part of the track as a way to enter slightly wider and brake on. And then, as we said, go for a late apex, end up on the right-hand side of the track. Make sure you're utilizing your body position over here. So as you do a sharp turn into the left, lean out to the right. That should give you a quick lap. When are you going to the track next?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, awesome. So there's going to be a replay of this on YouTube. I recommend to just review that before so you refresh yourself. Overall, good start. I think there's a second or two to find there next time you get out on track.
Right.
Any other things you want to discuss before we move on to the next driver?
That's all. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. You can stay on the live meet or follow on the live stream. What I recommend, when you have some more footage, be sure to submit it in one of the future track help sessions. Yeah, I'd love to see how you get on after this.
Right.
All right, we're gonna just take a couple of comments from the live. So we had Fire Dragon on YouTube. He was just acknowledging the answer we gave about which cart he should buy. We had Jarvis on Instagram. He's asking, how can he join the academy? How can he send a video? Well, it's very, very straightforward. Go to the KTips website, go to the academy section, and just sign up, send a request to join. It's free to join. Once you get into the academy, you're going to see the main landing page, which is where we have all of our track help links. Here, you'll not only find the Google Meet link to join, but then similar to what Theodore's done over here today, he's put a YouTube link to his footage. Zhao, he's put some of his footage over there. We're going to obviously review Theodore's footage at the end. And then if you have any questions as well, like Jacob has put, you can also mention those there. So completely free to join. Head over to the KTips website. You will find a link to join. Now we got Atina. Do you have to have a helmet with a GoPro or just some camera? Well, it can be any camera as long as it's secure, right? With the GoPro mount, yeah, it makes it secure. It's not going to fly off. There's plenty of alternatives, of course. If you simply search for action camera or something like that on Amazon, you can find alternatives. Now, I'd say there's better cameras out there than GoPro. For example, DJI have put out a really good camera which has a very wide field of view, and when you record your karting footage, it looks really, really fast. It almost looks like the real life speed. Whereas GoPro, you know, it's very sharp and clear, but the karting footage, even in professional karts, it looks slow. You've also got the Insta360, for example, if you want to see the 360 of your track whilst you drive. That's also a great option. So plenty of cameras out there, and whatever you prefer, you can go for. We're going to round off today's session with Theodore's footage. Shall I refer to you as Theodore or Theo?
Anything works.
Let's
Theo, just to not get mixed up with the other Theodore.
Let's go for Theo then. Did you manage to get some more footage?
No, I didn't.
And okay, perfect. I'll submit my footage. Brand new. So you didn't get the brand new track?
No, this is the new track. It's currently being built. I think that we started building it in May or April of this year.
That is awesome. So, are you based in Athens?
Yeah, this track is in Sparta, is somewhere outside of Athens.
Awesome. Just talk me through the name of this track. How can I find it on Google, for example?
It's called Speed Force International Raceway, I think.
Yep, International Raceway. Speed Force. I think I got it over here. Let me just share my screen. Especially when we have outdoor tracks like this, it's nice to see the overhead shot. And this is it, right? In the heart of.
Actually, no. I think
that's not it. Okay.
They don't have a Google Maps spot yet, because I think they had one, but the Google Maps, like,
it's not updated.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's this track that we're looking at?
This is the old track I used to race here.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
it's a bit old. I think it's 30 years old now. It's really
Okay.
bumpy. It's not that good, and it's really small. The new track is 1,300 meters.
Wow, wow.
So it's primarily for racing carts, like
That's amazing.
shifter carts and junior categories. But we will also race here with rentals. I am
Mhm.
racing on Wednesday this
Amazing.
week.
Is that a sprint race or endurance race?
It's a sprint race. It's 7 minutes qualifying, 20
Mhm.
minutes race.
Amazing, amazing. How long have you done karting for now?
About a year now. My
Nice.
friend went to a race
Yeah.
in, I think, November of 2023.
Okay.
No, yes, 2023. Um, so she said to me, why don't you race with me as well?
Hmm.
We are big fans. I have a Logitech wheel at home. I do sim racing quite a lot.
Nice.
I have also watched Formula One my whole life and motorsport in general.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew what I was doing,
Yep.
but I thought I was going to end up last, to be honest.
Okay.
Uh,
No, that's
especially,
not the case. If you do
yeah,
sim racing, I know lots of sim races. They do well. It's
yeah,
their first time karting.
especially in the first race. Um, it was raining, so I thought I was going to be even slower,
Okay.
and I ended up qualifying on pole, winning the first race.
Nice.
And in the second race, because it was a different uh, format back then, it was 3 minutes qualifying and a 12-minute race and another 12-minute race.
Yeah.
And to get the final positions, you combine your average finishing position of qualifying race in the other race, I think.
Oh,
So I was the fastest driver on that day.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I was 7/6 quicker than all the other guys, but in the second race, because of my inexperience, I spun out 2 times and couldn't
Okay.
catch up to them.
That's racing. I think
Yeah,
the thing you took from the sim racing is maybe the lines, the
yeah,
racecraft, and already with this footage that we're watching, I can tell you got a very good foundation. Uh,
mm,
in terms of the camera angle, we got a great position of the hand and the footwork
yeah,
that's going on. And yeah, it's very consistent. You see
mm,
what you'll translate from sim racing. Yes, the lines and the general skills of driving, but then you got to add the new thing will be the physicality. How
okay.
how was that
Um,
change for you? Was it more than you expected, or
oh, definitely. In the first
yeah?
race, it was manageable
Hmm.
because it was a sprint race.
Yeah,
Um, I was very sore when I finished the race, obviously,
yeah,
uh, but I could manage it. When I did an endurance race
yeah.
with my mate, uh, it was almost impossible at one point. It was a 2-hour endurance race, which isn't a lot for an endurance race compared to other races.
Okay.
Um, but because I hadn't bought any karting gloves yet, I was
Mm,
racing with I think bike gloves or no gloves at all.
hmm.
In the second or third sprint, I couldn't grip the wheel at all.
Sorry, you're cutting out. You couldn't grip the steering wheel anymore.
Yeah, and I went off at some point because I couldn't turn, basically.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, the current gloves you got here, I think you found the difference, right? They're
Yeah,
a lot,
yeah.
they're a lot better. And slow,
Uh,
yeah,
I think I got the basically the biggest difference I felt was obviously the grip and the amount of confidence it gave me
yeah.
because I could push as much as I want, and I wouldn't get tired.
There you go. And honestly, you'll slowly upgrade your karting equipment over
Yeah.
time. So you can look into getting some boots, and then have you got a helmet?
Yeah, I have a helmet.
Perfect, you got the helmet. So then after that, and then you know maybe rib protector, and after that, I think you're pretty much done. But the comfort you'll definitely find from the suit. And with the karting boots, you probably find better control of the brakes and accelerator. It's not that much of a difference, but it's just the shape of the boot. It gives you more, yeah,
Okay, I
more
understand.
consistency. That's
Yeah.
that's maybe something you'll find. But gloves are the biggest difference, absolutely, and especially
Gloves,
for
definitely.
those who do it bare hand or gloves which don't have much grip. As soon as you get a decent pair of gloves, it's important. Just looking at this footage there in the background, I guess this is the same layout you're going to be doing in the sprint next week.
Yeah.
What are your current timings, and how does it compare to other drivers?
I think my best lap, I don't know exactly, because when I practiced here, I think this was a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
They didn't have installed the system for
Yeah, timing system.
timing system. Yes, exactly. So my father, outside of the track, basically got the stopwatch out and
Yeah.
timed my laps as precisely as he could.
Exactly. You got to do that sometimes.
I think my best lap that he timed was a 1 minute 14.7.
Nice.
And when I tried to time it at home by looking at the onboard, I think it was close to that, a 14.8 or a 14.9, something like that.
Yeah. How does that compare with others?
Honestly, I
it's
have
quite quick.
no idea, because I think it's quite quick.
Yeah.
We asked the guys that work there.
Yeah.
They said it was quite a good time. I feel like also, and they also feel like I could improve, but I don't really know compared to other drivers, because one, all the drivers that practice here generally practice on racing carts, not rentals. And these are the drivers also that race in the sprint race, so it's a quite competitive field.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Do you know GT89, Greek YouTuber?
Yeah, I know him.
Amazing.
I watch him all the time.
Oh, amazing. He's a good friend of mine. Actually, we haven't met in person, but through social media, and he's probably the go-to guy I'd recommend if he's got any track guides. Or has he done any videos at this track?
Not at this track, because I suppose because it's really new. He has done a track guide at the old track, which I watched, and
Nice.
It helped me quite a lot, actually.
Yeah. He's one of the top drivers, and he focuses. He's done a lot of rental karting, so he's a good reference to have. In terms of this new layout, though, let's just switch over so you can see my pen. Any specific corners that you wanted to go over from this footage?
Basically all of them.
Okay, let's do a review.
Yeah.
I assume this lap starts. Is it where the carts were? Because it's not clear as it's
yeah.
It's the new track. So basically, it's gonna be. Is there gonna be like the sand and stuff on the track, similar to how there is on some parts now, or they're all gonna be cleaned up? Like for example,
yeah, I think they will be cleaned up.
Because this is the basically brand new track you were driving on.
Exactly. Yes.
Because a couple of corners, I could tell it was affecting the grip and the turning, just because it's a different surface change. But I think this is it then. This is the start line.
This is the start.
Amazing. Basically, we've got a really, really fast section. I think we got a better shot over
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. I think
beginning.
this or the second lap in
Yeah,
this
I
video
think it was the second
is
lap, right? It was better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the start
I think
here. You
this
can
one.
start here. This is the last corner.
Last corner, and this is our main straight. Is it going to
Mm.
be a grid start on
Yeah.
next week? Nice.
It's always a grid start, except in endurance races when it's like a Le Mans start.
Ah, awesome. Really, really nice section over here. You got fast left into a right, and then it's this long right, which is coming up.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So corners like this, yeah, it'll really depend, number one, which type of kart you got, because that will decide the straight line speed, different things like that. How used are the karts now? Has it been some time, or are they pretty much brand new?
They are almost brand new.
Mhm.
First of all, I think they change the tires every race. So I think they do a sprint race every month and an endurance race every month, and they change the tires after every race.
Nice.
Recently, they haven't done any races in a couple past months because they were focused on building this track and starting the races on this track.
Yeah.
I think the karts are not brand new, but pretty new. And also because we don't pick our karts. It's I think they put our names on a wheel and
Yeah. It's by luck.
spin. It's by luck.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed any differences per se, so I think they're really similar.
Yeah. And that's good. There'll be slight changes, but really don't get too worked up about that. Also,
Yeah,
I think they're quite well maintained. The fact that they're changing tires every few races, and it shows that they're trying to keep things fair. Is it going to be a different kart in every session, from qualifying than the race?
no. The card you get in qualifying is the same you will
Yeah.
get in the race, except I think if you can feel the differences and you can see that it isn't fast enough, you can change the card, I think.
Awesome. Don't worry too much about the karts. I think you should be fine with that.
Yeah.
Let's just quickly go through the lines you're taking over here for the first three corners. What you're trying to do here is stay flat as much as possible. You're then going for the placement of the kart. So from the middle of the track, you're widening up your entry. And I like how you're going for an early break. If you notice, you're getting your braking done, you're getting your turning done, and it's well before the apex of the corner. These karts, quicker we can brake and turn, boom, the quicker we can then get back onto the accelerator. Keep that up. That's really, really good. So you're rotating the kart well. How are the curbs at this track? Can you take them, or should you just go
I
up to
think these sausage curb type
them?
you can't really take them.
Yep.
For example, this one, I just
Avoid it.
try to get as close to them as I can without getting the tires over them.
Yeah.
These curbs, like this one, I can ride fine, but they are really aggressive. You can feel it in your back.
Yeah. And I like a track like this because then it's clear track limits for everyone.
Yeah.
Then it's about who's gonna be consistent, who's gonna be accurate. Sometimes drivers will take too much of the curb and then they'll slow down, and you lose maybe like 2 or 3 tenths. If you do that a couple of times across a race, you've lost nearly like just a second like that. Better to be conservative. Try to be as close as possible, as you said, for these types of curbs. The runoff sometimes, you have to use it, and these are the rumble strips that you're shaking on them, so it's not the best of things to stay on. Another great opportunity to slipstream. I mean, have you done any racing with other drivers so far, where you're like working together and pushing each other?
At this track, not at all. But on other tracks, yes.
Yeah, that could be a strategy to use even in the race. Let's say it's like the two of you and there's somebody in front. Try and push each other, especially down some of these straights, to get more of an advantage. What we're approaching, obviously, is I believe a right-hand hairpin we're coming up to.
Yeah.
And
There's no elevation change on this
Yeah.
hairpin, but once you get to the exit, it's downhill.
awesome. Just a few things to note over here on the footwork. Just watch your left foot. On the brakes, nice and early. I guess at this, just after this rumble strip, you'd say you're hitting the
I
brakes.
think at this lap specifically,
Yeah.
I got on the brakes a bit after the curbing starts,
Perfect.
but I have found that I get much closer to the apex as soon as the curb starts. So I was
Awesome.
kind
So
of
an earlier break.
experimenting here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. Sometimes it's best just to go for the early break, get the kart rotated quickly. You can see you're going for a turn in, and then back on the accelerator, hopefully by mid corner at the apex.
Yeah.
Use the track on exit, just like you're doing over here. And again, we can straighten up now. It's a really, really big track. So that's why the exits of the corner is so important. We want to try to be as fast as possible. Moment we go too quick on the corner entry, then the exit will be compromised. And then our straight line speed on the following straight will be compromised as well.
Yeah.
And the left hand hairpin, you could say, or is it just a left hander?
It's a left-hander. It's quite a difficult corner because you don't have the reference point.
I was gonna say
So
only
you
some
have
feeling.
to brake by feeling.
Yeah.
By the way, I have another video posted up on YouTube, which
Yes.
is it's a better camera angle. If I could,
Perfect.
easy.
Go for it.
Should I post it on the chat?
Yeah, just post it on the chat. It'll be easier for us.
Okay. I posted this one because the lap times were better.
Nice. The one we were watching was, you're saying, from summer or a few months ago.
I think it was middle of September.
Oh, okay. So a couple of months ago.
This footage is from summer, just before going on holiday.
Nice. Yeah, just go for the link. You can just put it in the chat over here.
I'll put it as a reply on my.
Yeah, you can even put it on the Academy page. That's fine.
I posted it.
Nice. It's a lot better. Which camera are you using?
I think it's a GoPro Series 10. I got it from
Nice.
my father.
It's is very, very clear. Yeah, as I was saying earlier. Oh wow! Now we can see.
Yeah.
Now we can see
it's a
what a
lot
great
better.
track. It looks amazing, honestly, because you've got those mountains in the back. Are those mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
In
beautiful.
Greece,
Wow,
almost everywhere we have mountains.
that's
It's really, really
amazing.
nice.
Yeah. Where's the fastest lap over here? This first lap, you'd say, or?
I think it's somewhere here.
Yep, started the
it
lap
was
once
a
again.
20-minute session, and this was at the end. So
What
one
a
of
track.
these laps are gonna be my fastest. Now I have a question for the first corner right here.
Mhm.
I think on this lap I hugged the apex as much as I could on the right here. Yeah, you can see. But I had difficulty turning in on the next corner.
Mm.
And I think it was because the car was not really straight coming into
Okay,
the corner.
and
Or
you get a bit of understeer, you're saying?
yeah,
Over here.
exactly.
Yeah.
I have found that by going wide, like I did on the previous footage,
Yeah.
when I press the brake,
Sorry, you cut out there.
yeah. So
Sorry, I think you were muted.
yeah, that came in.
No problem.
by what was I saying? By going wide.
Basically, wide line or tight line.
Yeah, by going wide on the, like I did on the previous footage, I positioned the card perfectly to be straight, so I could turn it in better.
Just bring it up like that and then like that. I think this calls for a comparison.
Yeah.
This will be a nice way to go for it. Yep. So we got the 2 lines to observe over here. First part is pretty much the same if you notice.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, as you mentioned, you're going for that tighter approach. On the right, what you're doing is you're staying in the middle. And technically, you're taking, because you're staying in the middle, you're going slightly wider, but you might be taking a bit more speed.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, you're hugging the right hand. And here you're able to widen up quickly. If you notice, the outside curb is a good reference of how wide you're entering. And you're entering nice and wide. What you're able to do over here is have a very easy entry for the right corner. Not only is the angle of the corner wide, you can comfortably brake early, get back on the gas. Whereas on the right, we now have to come all the way back to the left-hand side. If you notice the entry, it's like a quarter of the car away from the outside. You're trying to brake hard over here, and then get back onto the gas. What's happening is you're just getting some understeer. Whereas here, it's a smoother run, and you're coming through tighter. Now, I'd say the lap on the right side was smoother and it looked faster because you had more control of the car. So when you have a wide entry like this, it's easier to take the corner. The moment you go slightly wide, you remember you're going at high speed. This is flat out until here, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, all the way from here, you're building up speed. I'd say about here, you'd probably be maximum speed still. And then you come up to this corner, the tight, right? It is quite tight, to be fair. You have to do your braking very, very suddenly and then try to get the turn in. Yeah, just widen it up, I'd say. What you could do is to reduce the meters. It's fine to go tight. So it's okay to go tight over here. But then as soon as you hit the curb, then start focusing wide.
Okay. I will try that.
And just try to get out wide as much as possible. As we said, this curb is a nice reference. And do something similar to what you were doing on this lap on the right. I think this seems one of the best ways. Not bad though. As we said, look, you got a long straight over here. If you had somebody pushing you from behind, it'd be nice. Or you push somebody in front. Coming up to hairpin. And let's just see where you're braking over here on this lap. So just after the curb on the left side. Braking. Getting rotation on the kart. And mid apex. Back out wide. This kart as well is different, right? On each lap. The one on the left and right is different karts. The number?
No, I don't think so.
Is it the same one, you think?
I think it's the same one because we don't race with this card.
Yeah.
This is basically the card they give you if you want to practice. But on the races they have like 20 cards. I think it's the same chassis and the same engine, but it's a different color and they're newer.
So is it like one kart they've got for the public sessions for practice?
Yeah, because generally, especially on the older track, not many people raced on the 390cc carts. This is 390cc. They all raced on the 270.
Right.
So they have them like in the track, outside of the track, I should say, in case anyone wants to race. But they generally bring this one when someone wants to race on the 390s.
Yeah, gotcha. How many of them will they bring? Like 10, 15 of them, or it'll just be one?
On practice days, I don't know. I think they all have them parked up somewhere,
Yeah.
but they're kind of hidden away.
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm just trying to think if this kart itself, because there'll be different numbers, right, on them. I know it's the same chassis and engine, but there'll be a different number. If this one and this one were the same that you got, it just looks like this one is handling a bit differently. For example, under braking, what's happened here is you've gone for your hard brake, you're getting some rotation, and then mid corner you're having to go for corrections, and yeah, it's just a bit of understeer here because you have to turn in sharply to the right just to get close to the apex. It's just different karts will handle differently.
Yeah.
Cool. We now have a nice view of the upcoming corner. This is the blind corner you were saying. There's really no reference over here. Approaching at high speed, and it's quite a sharp left-hander, just visually looking at this now. So again, you got a wide entry, tap of the brake, getting close to the inside, and it's a long corner. So it begins on the left. Would you say there's some elevation change? You're going downhill here, yeah?
On the brakes, you're going downhill. Once you reach the apex, it's uphill. That's why I think it's better to focus on the exit because it's a really long straight. Now, I have another question on this specific corner. Obviously, brake, get to the apex, but after the apex, when should I start pressing the gas, and how wide should I try to go? Should I try to do this like this lap here where I am quite close to the curbs, or should I go extra wide?
I guess you're trying to set up for this next straight, and you naturally want to come out of the corner. So sometimes you don't have to stick too tight. What you're doing here looks about right. Maybe you can try, some of the laps, like half of the session, coming off and going wide, seeing if that opens up the kart, opens up the engine, gives you more revs quickly, or by taking the tighter line, which is less meters, but then seeing how the kart reacts. Is there less revs because you're going tighter? Maybe you really just got to try that out. In terms of acceleration now, it's really about getting onto the accelerator as soon as possible, but then being progressive with it. So what you don't want to do is flood the engine with revs very, very quickly, because the kart can actually slow down like that. So you want to be quite progressive with it. And then, eventually, we want to be 100%, but don't be 100% too soon. Just be mindful of that.
I always did that when I race because obviously in sim racing, I know how to progressively press the pedal.
Exactly.
But I thought you did that basically to not spin out. So I thought with these rental karts, because they don't have a lot of power compared to racing cars or race cars, you just press the accelerator flat out every time you want to press the accelerator.
You see, generally it's true, but there's kart to kart, it's the sensitivity changes. Some karts will react negatively to that. It'll actually bog down more the more you flood the engine with revs. So sometimes it's just about modulating it carefully. Now, I'm not saying take too much time and slowly ramp up. No, just put some pressure in and then get to 100. Feel out what works best with each kart. And the best way to understand that is, number one, the feeling of acceleration you get. Does the kart feel like it's stuck even though I'm putting gas? Or, does the engine sound like it's, limited? Look for these patterns. and then
Okay.
adjust your driving accordingly. So sometimes you might put your foot down 100% and it goes 100%, goes quickly. Perfect, it works. Sometimes you put your foot down 100% and then it stops. You know, you might have to be a bit more progressive.
Okay.
Next part of the track coming up. Again, another opportunity to bump draft. If you had somebody behind you, I'm sure you can gain time like that. I can see what you mean by the right hand side of the open area, the pits over here. These are the drivers who are getting ready for the next session. Just talk me through this this next section, which is coming up.
This is all flat out. It's also an uphill, and I try to brake on the next corner right as the curbing starts. It really works great for me. The only issue here is once the curb starts, there's a big bump. So
okay.
I have tried braking later, but if you brake any later, you will brake on the bump and the cart will become unstable. If you brake even more later, you will not make the corner.
Right.
So
is that real tricky corner that you've come across. Yeah, and you can just tell slightly, right? Just over here. Boom.
Yeah.
Just there, there's a mini bump going.
Hold on, I can't hear you if everything is okay.
Sorry. I think it's muted over here. Just give me one moment as I rewind. So what you got over here is you got the curb which starts and comes over it is it's either the break point over the curb, or you can try to feel out where the turning point is. Where are you turning? After the bump or?
Just after the bump.
Gotcha. What the best thing is now is to find the limit. What you're doing over here is taking a conservative approach, slowing the cart down, making sure it's not going to be too unstable, riding over the bump as you're braking, get your turning done, and then slowly feed the gas. This looks about right. Some carts now, if you want to take more and more risk, you can play with it. Can I brake a bit later? Can I turn in a bit more aggressively? But this approach looks to be the most consistent way, where you're riding over that bump at a controlled speed, getting good turning, and it's something which I believe over. I mean, how many laps are you can do in your race?
It's a 20-minute race. If you consider that the lap times are gonna be 1 minute 15, 16 with the added kilos, we're gonna do about 12, 13 laps, maybe a bit more.
Across 12, 13 laps, this is I think a perfect approach that can ensure you're not going to go too wide or lose too much time through this corner. I guess the main thing is on to the next couple of corners, which become slightly wider. And now we've got second to last corner. There's only second to last corner, you can say. Last section. Downhill once again. Into a hairpin. And back uphill again, right?
Yeah.
What's the understanding behind this corner?
Basically, I get on the brakes as soon as the curb starts. Once again, these are almost all of my reference points on this track. In this footage, in this lap, I didn't really get to the apex. I think on the other footage, it's a bit better. But the problem I am having is that I don't think I am getting on the gas as soon as early as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I can't go any earlier. As you can see here,
Yeah,
the corner really opens up.
exactly. So here it's a trail brake that you're doing. If you notice, the
Yeah.
braking point is just at the beginning of the curb, holding the brake, slowing the cart down.
Once
And-
I start
yeah,
to turn in
And
line,
look at that, just
trail brake.
releasing at the apex. And it will vary. It's not that you should always threshold brake and you should never trail brake. It will vary corner to corner. See, this is an owner kart track at the end of the day. It's got these high speed corners, so going to be carrying almost top speed of these rental carts into these turns, sometimes taking a bit more of a conservative approach with your braking over here will work out. Now, what you can possibly do, widen up the entry, maybe use a bit more of this outside part of the track for your braking, be harder with the brake pressure, firmer with the brakes, try and get some rotation, all the while staying at the outside part of the track and then going for that sharp turn in towards the inside. Maybe something to think about for the next session that you practice.
Yeah. Now,
exit looks good.
Yeah. One thing I find difficult with braking,
Mhm.
I have seen and I have heard that with racing carts you should brake really hard, 100% on the brakes at the start and then trail brake.
Mhm.
But I try to do the same on these rental carts, but I have seen other creators saying that you shouldn't lock up the brakes at all,
Mhm.
and you should get as close to the limit of locking up, but not locking up.
Yeah.
So what should I do basically?
You see, it's really about developing your own style of braking. Now, what happens is there's a general way of braking. If you try to implement, that the lock technique where you're locking up, some drivers find it too difficult. Where actually that technique slows them down. They try and press the brakes hard and come to the limit of locking up, but at the end of the day they're not consistent with that and it's slowing them down. What I would recommend though is brakes, number one, are used for turning the cart. Always think the reason I'm actually braking is going to help me with turning, and also of course to slow down for the corner which is coming up. So yes, the initial pressure should be quite firm. If this is a brake chart, I should be quickly ramping up to that peak pressure. And what will happen is you'll feel the biting point or the locking point where the cart will rotate. As soon as you feel that, that's when you need to come off the brakes completely and then start controlling the oversteer. So what's going to happen? Hard brake, ramping up to that peak pressure. As you turn in, you're going to feel some oversteer. Release the brakes now, as we tried to do before the corner, and slowly apply acceleration.
Yeah.
Before the apex of the turn. I would always encourage in rental carts, try to be on the brakes for as short time as possible. So really, we're just using the brakes to slow the cart down quickly and then to rotate the cart.
Yeah, but the thing is, especially on this track, where you basically are at top speed all the time, I don't think I could do that, except for the first corner where I brake for just a bit and then go on the gas pedal as soon as I can, or the other corner with the bump that we saw earlier. But these long, like downhill corners, like the previous one from this, I feel like I have to be on the brakes a lot, try to trail brake and press the gas pedal like on the apex.
Agreed. You will have to shift from the threshold brake technique then over to a more trail brake. just for smoothness. What you'll find is maybe if you're too aggressive on the brakes, you might get too much sliding, or that braking style doesn't suit either this track layout or even the karts itself. So the way I do it, as you said, corner to corner, find what works best. These high speed corners where you carry lots of speed, and it especially goes into a more hairpin turn. If the trail brake is what you're more consistent in, stick with that. At the end of the day, what you want to try to do is find a style that your lap times as close to each other as possible. So what you don't want to do is maybe be threshold braking, but then your lap times are sometimes quick, other times you're not accurate with your braking, you're going slower. If you're more comfortable with the trail brake and you can find that there's 1 or 2 tenths between your lap times each time, go for that. Because in the long term, that'll help you win the race, or finish strongly. But generally, because you've got such a high speed track over here, more speed you enter a corner, or more speed that you carry into a corner, the more you're going to have to brake, which means you probably end up going for a more trail brake style. Now, what that means is, you're going to be on the brakes for longer, but as opposed to a race car, there's no need to be on the brakes all the way until here. Similar to what you did on this corner, for example, you're braking into the corner and it's just about here, so just before the apex, now you're applying some gas. So, go for something like that, because at the end of the day, we want to keep the revs high as well. Final couple of corners, all about placement of the kart. How can we take the shortest path? Taking the curb on the right side, trying to make it as straight line as possible between these 2 points. And you do this quite well. From the right, back to the left, and then heading back out wide to complete a quick lap. So when is the race again? It's next week. It's on the weekend?
It's on Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, Wednesday afternoon. Okay. Is a GP going to be there? GP 89?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, he's not.
I think
Okay.
he only does endurance races. And in the previous endurance races that I have done on the other track, he also hasn't showed up. But some of the teams that me and my friend beat or raced with have raced with GP on other endurance races, and they did quite well.
Awesome.
On the last endurance race, I think there's a team called Cartel Racing Team. And they were fighting all of the race with GP89. And
Amazing.
In the last endurance race that I raced with my friend, we finished like 4 seconds behind them, and we also had a couple of spins. So I think we could have had the podium.
You could have it, I mean, that's awesome. And I'd say you've got a really, really good foundation. I really like how your driving is so far. It's definitely top level. And now you just got to build on that experience. So whether it's sprint races, endurance races, it's all good experience. And at the end of it, your lines can be good, but then it comes down to those small strategic decisions in the race. And you know all too well from sim racing how
I think
to plan that.
I have the racecraft, I have the patience. I'm not really an aggressive driver, which can be bad, but it can also be very good. I have had minimal, almost none contact with other drivers. I try to stay clean as much as possible, but especially earlier in the year, I had some trouble overtaking. Now I have fixed that. I'm getting better at overtaking, but especially in the rain, I think I am quite good in the rain. I try to be as patient as possible, especially if I'm behind another driver, waiting for them to make a mistake.
And that's all the key things you want to do in the rain, because it's not about being aggressive. It's who's patient and who can keep it on the track as well, and who's smooth with their driving. No, that's really. How's the weather going to be on Wednesday? You think it'll rain, or?
I hope it rains, to be honest.
Okay.
Not only because, as I said before, in the first race I ever went, I was the quickest driver with a very competitive field. The drivers that I race with practice week in, week out. I don't really practice like this time. It was the first time I practiced because it was a new track and they invited us over for a test drive. I just try to go to the races. They also race with junior karts and racing karts. They're very quick drivers. I think they are one of the quickest in the city or the whole of Greece. And also I race with another young driver. I think he's 12, 13 years old, who is on a national level. He races in national championship. He's really, really quick.
Awesome. There you go. So that's what you'll find in karting is different experience levels and just people to learn from and compare to. Because if you're keeping up with these top guys, then it's just through a bit more experience that you can match them and hopefully go on to beat them as well.
The thing is, okay, I can match them and be even quicker in the rain, but in the dry, no way. I think I'm quite competitive, but I can't really match them, to be honest. And I hope it comes down to practice and techniques in karting, because I can learn those. But it's gonna take some time.
It's all about that. Keep up the practice, keep up the races, and keep on recording your footage. So hopefully in future sessions we can review as we did today. Are you allowed to record the race next week?
Yeah.
Let you record. Perfect. Go for it. And we'd love to see how you get on. Is there anything else, Theo, before we round off for today's session?
One final thing. Especially earlier this year, I had some trouble with the kart becoming unstable, like jumping up and down. I have done so much research, but I haven't really found an answer yet on why that is. On the previous track, because it was also really bumpy, it didn't help me. So I lost a lot of lap time, and it really knocked my confidence, because after the first race where I was really competitive, I could have won. I came to the next race on the in a dry track, thinking I was gonna be really competitive, and I finished almost last, I think, because of the bouncing. So is there any way that I can minimize this as much as I can?
Yeah, and is that when you add ballast weight, or is that without ballast weight? It's just jumping.
With and without. One time I went to practice on the old track. I had a lot of bouncing, and I didn't add any weight. But because I'm really light, I'm really short. I am 50 kilos. When I do the races, I think I put on like 20, 25 kg. It minimizes the jumping.
The jumping is that more weight, right?
But there are certain corners where I bounce.
Just too much.
Yeah.
Very, very common issue that you're facing. I faced that as well years ago when I was younger and was basically 50 kilos. Sometimes you have to take the pain and go through those bumps. Otherwise, you got to simply try to slow down your driving. You see, what's happening there is there's just too much grip at too much speed. That's what is causing the shaking. You've got to think of it, especially when you're a lighter build, you've got more speed that you're going to be carrying through corners. So sometimes slowing it down, lifting, can mitigate this. Other times it's just going to happen. So when it does happen like that, I would encourage you to try to use your body weight. Are you leaning at all in any of the corners?
Yes, I am, but always naturally, like with body weight. I just let my body do its own thing, but I don't force myself towards the seat.
Especially one thing I found is when it's shaking through corners, if it's a right corner, left corner, whatever, I'll try and lean excessively to the opposite side. Just try to give a bit more grip, and that can help. So maybe be mindful of that. Anytime you feel shaking, let me lean to the opposite side a bit more. See if that hopefully helps. Transfers the weight, could give you a bit more grip.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure, Theo. We're gonna have to round off today's session. I think it was awesome to have you all on. And any final things before we wrap up?
Not really. I will try to join next week and review my footage of the race.
Please do. It's been a pleasure, Theo. Just going to round off today's session with a few comments from the chat. We got Jacob. What's up, Jacob? Jacob Noble. What's up, Arya? What's up, Archie? Marcel, we missed you as well. Marcel was saying he's actually driving on today. Guys, if you want to join the academy and these sessions, be sure to join on the KTips website. Just to give you a quick overview, this is what you can expect. As soon as you submit a request to join, I'll admit you in. Every week, Saturday mornings and Sunday evenings, we've got track help session. You can submit some footage, maybe some track maps, even some questions to put down through. You should also introduce yourself. This is a great way to get to know each other. We've got a global karting community to be part of, and we got people from all over the world. If we just look the past week, we had Jauhi from Melbourne mentioning he races at an indoor track and he does some league races. We had Theodore from Denmark. He started about 3 months ago. He goes to different tracks. For now, he's racing indoors, and plenty of other drivers. We've also got some extra support for you guys. Those who would like to do some private coaching, whether it's one-on-one or join our Go Kart training program. These are a couple of things which are available for you in the classroom section. Private coaching, that's simply a one-on-one session. Level 1 Go Kart training program is, the program that I teach in real life, except now it's converted online, so people from abroad can join. You got more one-to-one sessions through there and a structured approach, how to get your fastest lap time at a new track that you may be going to, or an existing track which you're simply just struggling at. Apart from that, be sure to put some comments in on the general landing page, whether it's any of your wins, whether it's any questions that you got. KTips Academy is the place to be. Until tomorrow at 6 p.m. GMT, guys. We'll see you then. Take care.